All right, we're live, everybody. Thank you for waiting. Yes, indeed. Well, welcome to the imho.love show. I'm Lou Angelwolf. That's Mike Murburg. Sorry, we're a little late. The cows got out, and you can't let the cows be out.
Yeah, or you're liable. So.
You gotta, you gotta go get them. So here we are, folks. Beautiful CE5 Dark Ranch.
It's dead, man.
Is it dead?
Yeah.
You sure? Oh, no, it's still going.
Really?
Yeah, it's still going.
Oh, good.
All right.
Good luck.
And welcome to the show. imho.love. imho.love.
imho.lou. They don't have a
That's,
.lou yet. It's going that way.
.lou. In my humble opinion, .love. Love is a suffix you can get now instead of .com or .net or whatever. .love, baby, it's what it's all about. So, welcome. And the show is about, laughter and meditation and CE5, and which is Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, HICE, Human Initiated Contact Experiences, and just kind of soul preparation. That's what this week's show is about. And good to be here. Like I said, thanks for waiting on us, and welcome.
So what's on the agenda?
Well, you know, the title of the show is Laughter, Meditation, and Soul Preparation for today. And Mike and I both have a deep love of humor and laughter itself, merriment, mirth, joy, cackling, however you want to put it. It is one of the elements of our everyday life. We do make it a point to find things that are funny and laugh at them. A lot of times we're just laughing at ourselves too. So you can't really take this whole thing extraordinarily serious because it's not meant to be. In our society, we see so much skewing of logic, so many troubles of taking your life just too seriously, and you know, all it does is age you. All it does is fatigue you. All it does is stress you out. You do need to take a little bit of time and relax and have a laugh and talk to funny people and learn to be funny yourself. And
Can you really learn that?
You can. You can. I think you can.
Okay.
I think a lot of people are born with a sense of humor. I mean, in its most organic state. But even those who aren't born with it can develop it.
I think it's a survival mechanism.
A little closer.
Do you think it's a survival mechanism?
I totally think it's a survival mechanism. I don't know what I could do or what I would do if I wasn't allowed to laugh, or if I wasn't allowed to skew logic, or point out the ridiculous. It's such a part of my life. Everybody I know, everybody I'm close to, has a wonderful wit. I know a couple old sticks in the mud, but they have a sense of humor that's not so much on the surface. They may enjoy something a little drier or whatever, but chances are, if you're in my life, you have a wonderful sense of humor, and I know I love to hear you laugh. So, hence some of my carryings on. So, it's a health condition. It's something that
It's my humorous.
If you're humorous, yes, you have to improve your humor.
I got a broken humorous.
My humerus is broken.
And my leg hurts too.
But I'm telling you, everybody I know, you, of course, my friends, my family, my significant others, everybody in my life is a witty person. And chances are that's what brought us all together in the first place, was this joy of laughter. If you don't know who I am, that's okay. But I've been a professional stand-up comic for about 36 years. And I have been blessed with meeting some of the absolute funniest people on earth. And I got a little surprise for you, Mike.
Baird's ashes.
That's not a surprise, but yeah, the guy that kind of brought Mike and I together, and 400 radio shows later, was a guy named Steve Baird, who's a great stand-up comic and a very, very funny guy. And he had one of those darker, murkier senses of humor, but like the Penguin of Burgess Meredith on Batman. But I was, not to drop names, Robert De Niro told me never drop names. Brian Regan is in town Friday night at the Mahaffey Theater down in St. Petersburg. And you and I have 2 seats and backstage passes if you want to go.
Sure, Friday night.
Friday night.
I'll work it out.
Okay. So, Brian Regan, yes, absolutely, who's a wonderful old friend of mine. I was actually, Brian's a global touring headliner, one of the best clean acts in the world. He really is. I mean, he's got to be in the top, 50 comedians in the world. He's just brilliant. And he's from Florida. He's from Miami Lakes. And he plays through here several times. Several times a year, but he's here at least once or twice a year. And the Tampa Bay area he has quite a fan base here. And it's always a pleasure when I get to see him. So we were just doing some texting today. I sent out a funny text today, and he responded, and he goes, "Hey, I'm going to be in your neighborhood this weekend." He says, "I got 2 comps left. You want them?" And I went, "Yeah, man."
Cool.
So I gave him our names, and there we are. So that will be an evening of fun. And in fact, last weekend, I really had a great occasion. McCurdy's Comedy Theater down in Sarasota is my home club. Pam and Les McCurdy, 2 of the finest club owners and human beings. Doesn't even matter what they do for a living. They're just beautiful, beautiful people. Their club in Sarasota on Ringling Boulevard has been closed down due to the China virus. And
they're calling it the CCP virus. Right?
The CCP virus.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they won't. That won't offend anybody except communists.
Ah. Yeah. You don't. Yeah. Well.
And that's your intended audience.
Did the commies not like it? Good. So their showroom has been closed for a couple of months. Their staff is of the best in the comedy business. But they've been doing these shows, these outdoor socially distanced shows, at a place called The Bazaar in Sarasota, which is a beautiful little artsy community. It's got a big courtyard and a nice performance space. And I got to work with an old friend of mine last Friday night, Flip Schultz. I remember when Flip first started out back in the late 80s, early 90s, just as an open micer and a support act. And now he's a national touring headliner. Really, really, really funny guy. And I was opening for him. He passed me. But that's the deal I have with Les and Pam. He said, "Lou, I can headline you once every 14 months because it's one of the hottest comedy clubs in the country. Or I can feature you several times a year. And because I like to visit, I took the second deal. So, but Flip was absolutely hilarious. We have mutual friends. We both do pretty good Jimmy Shubert impressions. And we were doing Jimmy Shubert for each other. And in fact, I called Jimmy today and told him we were both doing impressions of him. So that's how he likes it. So just a really, really fun weekend. Christine was there and loved to make her laugh. And we just had a real good time down there in Sarasota. You all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Legs are stiff. Yeah. Working like a dog.
Yeah, you were on the other end of the spectrum today. You weren't relaxing and laughing today, were you? You were rooting it out.
Playing lawyer or anything else, yeah. But I'm working, that's all. You know, it's always something.
Well, you got a piece of property you're bringing up for sale.
Yeah.
And you've had tenants in there for a while.
I've been gone for 20 years.
Really?
Yeah, I've been gone for 20 years.
And your tenants didn't treat the place with the loving kindness that you do.
Yeah, and it's funny. You talk to the neighbors and you learn, like, hey, this tenant wasn't so bad, but the one before him, did you know there were 10 people living in your house? It's like,
oh, my God.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
You know, but it's time. It's funny. You go back and all the memories, and, you know, I started with that piece of property from the land and, you know, discovered it when I was still cutting lawns to pay my bills.
Nice.
Yeah, I didn't own anything. Now, I don't know if I was happier then, but I can sure afford more security. That's for sure.
Yeah, well,
but I'm lucky. So.
Well, that's beautiful, and you know, you're such a mellow dude, Mike. You really do observe the energies of the earth. You let the Tao work in your life, and you know, even though these people did not take, you know, blue ribbon care of your place,
it all works out.
It's all recoverable.
Yeah.
You know, and
yeah. You know, 10 years ago I would have gotten angry, and now it's like, well, where's this taking me?
Right.
You know. Oh, by the way, thanks for sending me the YouTube on the Gospel according to Thomas. It was a nice refresher course.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, that's a nice piece. You know, the internet's full of garbage, and it's full of a lot of things you shouldn't even look at if you're protecting your eye and ear gate. But there is some real wonderful stuff out there as well, and that's what we try to shine towards. There's an archaeologist too, I think.
Yeah, two go hand in hand.
Sorry. Yeah, Robert Sepher. That's Sephyr, I believe is how it's spelled. Robert Sepher, or Sepher. I think maybe that's correct too. I think you'll find him. And he also has two websites or two YouTube sites. Another one called Antillean Gardens, and his own Robert Sepher. And he has magnificent work, and he just did a very, very nice piece on the Gospel according to Thomas, which was one of the excluded Gospels when they canonized the Scriptures back in 1612.
Oh, even before that. That was
1611.
It was left out of the Council of Nicaea. These Gospels, the Gnostic texts, and there are many of them, were all excluded, so that you had the New Testament conforming to solely on Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Everything else was thrown out.
Yes.
And then anything that was left over was certainly thrown out in the 1600s with the most modern Bible that we use today.
The Sir Francis Bacon edited version?
Yeah, something like that.
I think that's who did it, to be honest. I think he was William Shakespeare.
That's what they say.
I believe that, you know, because from what I understand, from what I've read, and, you know, I don't necessarily buy the mainstream story. I kind of look to the fringe. Hey, there's some fringy stuff that makes a little sense. and then you mix it with the mainstream, and somewhere in the middle is the truth or the actuality of it. Truth is all relative as well. But, yeah, they say that the actual William Shakespeare was like just a non-educated guy, and there's no way that he would know the things that he knew about, royalty and...
They sure put on a play, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
well, but I do believe that was... I like the Sir Francis Bacon story, where it was Sir Francis Bacon writing under a pen name of William Shakespeare, which was kind of a tongue-in-cheek joke, because if you knew who William Shakespeare was, it would have been funny for you to go, like, really, that guy wrote that? Sure he did. Apparently he was, like, quite a taverner, and, so there's that.
It's still a theory.
But it's still a theory.
I mean, in order to buy the theory, though, Shakespeare's works are so voluminous and so monumental. I mean, he wouldn't have been able to have another life.
Right.
There's just so much of it. He would have had to have been the largest, the greatest obsessive compulsive disorder case in all of Elizabethan or England.
Right.
It's who knows, but the way Shakespeare wrote, whoever he was, they say the same thing about Lao Tzu, that it wasn't he that wrote it; it was a school. There was a number of people that wrote it for him. At this point in time, what's the historical truth matter? You still have the work of art,
right?
True. To the extent you can know anything.
Yeah, don't worry about the parts as much as the sum total.
Well, it's like the Gnostic Gospels, the Gospel of Thomas. This isn't like the New Testament where they're talking about Jesus did this, Jesus did that. It's just simply Jesus says this, and it's very much like the Tao Te Ching and the teachings of Lao Tzu, because these are wisdom teachings.
Right?
It's like step on a crack and break your mother's back, stuff like that, useful information for the spiritually inclined. don't break your mother's back.
Right.
And don't bust your father's balls either.
That's painful for everybody. But through all of that, that's the second topic of tonight's show. Laughter, of course. I don't think anybody's really going to disagree with us on laughter. I mean, I know how to be solemn. I know how to be bummed out. I know how to be dark. I know how to be gloomy. I know how to be goth. I know how to do all that stuff. And in very, very small doses, it's fun. It's got its validity. You can definitely, there's two masks. There's the comedy mask and there's the tragedy mask. And there's not a good comic out there that can't see both sides. So the laughter part to me is almost a given. And if you're the kind of person that's like against laughter, I don't know what to say to you.
You're a communist.
Well, that could be too.
I don't know any communists with good senses of humor.
Probably not.
They're not.
Well, but the government doesn't allow it.
No, but they're very good at killing people.
Yes, they are good at killing people.
And having no remorse about it. I read an article this past week that members of the Red Guard in the earlier part of the Communist Revolution, who are older today, and they killed millions and millions of people. They're alive today. They still have no remorse over it.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
That's what you call a dyed in the wool communist.
Yeah.
No remorse at all.
Pol Pot's all-star team.
Pol Pot was a drop in a bucket compared to what the CCP did.
Yeah.
50 million people is a lot. Even if they're Chinese, is still a lot of people. I mean, that's a chunk of their population. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Stuff.
The secondary thing, and of course the Gospel according to Thomas will support this, and Lao Tzu and everybody else that we enjoy listening to, and Jesus himself, or Yeshua, or Yahshua, or Yahushua, however you want to say it, is meditation. And to me, people go, what's the difference between meditation and prayer? And Lou's little definition of it, I don't know how synonymous it is with others, but to me, meditation is a clearing of the mind, and prayer is a directing of the mind. When I have wonderful meditation sessions by myself or in a group or whatever, I tend to kind of drift away and almost go into a nothingness. But when I'm prayerful or I'm asked to pray, it definitely has a direction. It definitely has a point to the prayer. You are asking at that juncture in your mentality, to where the meditation, I actually do both, and I do them in that order. I meditate first, and then I go into prayer.
Yeah, well, it all depends on how you parse it. I mean, generally with prayer, people are praying for something. It's a quid pro quo, which separates it from meditation, which is just simply an opening of the mind. But with the CE5, you start with meditation, and then you send up your prayer for contact.
Yes.
So it is a meditation, and it is a prayer, because you're asking for something. You're asking to share what you have, and you're hoping that there'll be a reciprocity involved, where they come and they show themselves and they reveal themselves to you. Now, we had a great, even though I wasn't wearing any glasses, I get to the point where, if people are catching contact, that's great.
Right.
Ken's going to be posting his videos in a day or two. He picked up a lot of stuff.
Ken Glanister,
he's
fantastic guy.
And Leroy had a $350 addition to his new phone that he picks up infrared images. It's great. For $350, he has a really state-of-the-art infrared camera.
Really, on his
iPhone.
He's got an iPhone.
Well, whatever,
or Android or whatever,
Samsung or whatever it is. And he picked up he picked up a heat signature of a just like we picked up in the photographs a month ago, LaBelle,
right,
the female figure.
Yeah.
There was the strangest, and I posted it on our meetup. It was the strangest thing. It was like something out of a cartoon, where this kid is jumping up and down and making funny faces and noises and stuff.
Really?
You have to take a look at the shot he got. It's entity was probably maybe 4.5 feet tall.
Wow.
And its heat signature is right there with two of the other members of the group.
Wow.
Yeah, it was rather astounding. So
I don't know how that got past me, but yeah.
Well, the thing is, I don't know. You came a little bit late.
Yeah.
You had a show.
Okay.
But once again, and it's and dovetailing with the Gnostic text and the Gospel of Thomas, is what Christ is getting at is the kingdom of God is within you, and it is all around you, and if you cannot see it, then you do not get it. I mean, it's Hinduism, it's Buddhism, it's the teaching of Christ. And if you're Roman Catholic, or you're dyed in the wool, this is my Bible, and I'm not changing my beliefs, then you miss the point. And Christ taught the kingdom of God is within you. That's the start, and it dovetails so well with Hinduism and Buddhism and dimensionality and quantum physics, because we are living in a reality where there are superimposed upon us other realities that we are unable to see because of the limitations of our physical senses.
Yes.
And that's why it's nice to have, cameras that pick up other light spectrum, and it's nice to have infrared cameras as well. And it shows you that, when we pray to bring our, non-human intelligences here, they're not only the ones that are showing up in the sky, they're the ones that are showing up on the ground with us as well. And,
yes.
And they're as, real and as anything else. I mean, we've had orbs. We've had the 2 trees filled with 3,000 orbs at one point in time. It was it was more lights in an oak tree than you'd ever see on anybody's Christmas lights display.
Right.
It was just incredible. So last week was a great week, and thanks for showing up and leading a secondary healing meditation. That was great. There's a lot of people that need this, and when you explain the science to people, they look at you still like the world's not ready for us yet, but it's getting there.
Well, I would have to say, everybody that watches this show regularly. And there's a list of you, and we are so grateful for all of you. But you all are the people that are actually looking for more, okay? You're not getting it at your local church. You're not getting it at your local Kiwanis meeting. You're not getting it off of the television. You're not getting it at family dinner. I understand that. We all understand that. We understand that for sure. So, the CE5, the Close Encounters of the Fifth Kind, which is human-initiated contact experiences. We as a group, we have a lot of like-minded thinkers that we do believe that there are dimensions outside of us, of course, and we can tap into them spiritually, energetically, with various frequencies, with various energies. And I'm going to say that this is probably one of the larger movements in the world today, because people, I got to tell you, I'm not pointing fingers. I'm not naming names. But this last year, the CCP virus, or whatever we're calling it now, I do have to say I was very, very disappointed in the church, who claims to be all that, the direct conduit of faith, and they did not step up. They were not brave. They were, really fearing to lose their 501c3 status and toe the line. This, what Mike and I and our group is involved in, there's no group, there's no sanctioning entity here. The only sanctioning entity is what's above us, is what's around us, and what's inside of us. So when you allow yourself to expose that, to learn about it, to make it a deeper experience for yourself, you're doing the work that the church did hundreds and hundreds of years ago. People seeking deeper spirituality. And I never can remember this guy's name. He's the Japanese scientist, Maku Maku.
Now you put me on the spot. But yeah, the guy with the white hair that keeps on telling us that contact will occur someday, and as opposed to the black guy who says, "There's nobody out there. We would have known it by now."
Yeah. What's his name too?
Who cares?
That's how much he intended. He's got 3 names: DeGrasse Tyson.
Yeah.
Tyson LaGrasse something.
They named
anyway.
him after the chicken. Grassy chicken.
But this
Grassy no.
Maku,
No,
and forget we're bad.
Without our
that.
notes, we haven't done any research for this show. So we're flying.
So we're kind of winging it.
It's definitely
Maku. Yeah.
Nietzsche. Yeah.
But anyway,
That guy.
But again, like, you want to find out if you're really onto something, find out who's condemning it.
Right.
And this guy's condemning it.
Right.
He's going, it's not such a good idea to reach out and do that.
Right. They got to him. They got to Sagan. These mouthpieces for science that, these are physical scientists, and it's a difference between your garden variety freshman year in high school general science class that these guys are teaching, and then you get to the super honors class where there's only like 4 kids, and they're learning quantum physics because they're out of everything else to learn. So now, and that's the difference,
Right.
You know, it's like saying, "Oh, geez, well, you know, we haven't seen any." Well, because you haven't looked.
Right. And what Mike and I and the group has discovered, which is, and we're not the group. There's groups all over the world that are doing CE5 and HICE every month, every week, every day, probably somewhere. And it's something that you can learn too. It's not outside. It's not a special code. It's not like your Ovaltine ring that you have to send away for and figure it out. It's available to you, but the third leg of our discussion tonight is soul preparation. Laughter, meditation, and soul preparation.
Well, that's what it's all about. Is you don't get to make contact, or they don't come to visit you unless your soul is ready for it.
Right.
Now, you don't have to have CE5 to have contact. You know, if you are ready for it, they will come.
Yes.
All right, and they will celebrate the fact that you have, you know, done the work, and you're worthy of their attention.
Yes.
You know, I mean, Greer says it, even though I hate to quote Greer. I mean, he was like, his first contact was he was on the side of a mountain and he was meditating, and he got himself into such a state that, you know, E.T. showed up. I mean, this is a spiritual progression. It's not about let's go outside and see UFOs. That's the entertainment portion of the program.
Right.
It's like you're going to church and all of a sudden they bring in this great singer who's going to, you know, wow you.
Yes.
You know, but you do the spiritual work first so that you get the reward.
Yes.
And that's what's going on. So
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me interject.
Oh, that's perfect. And the soul preparation part of this is what makes our CE5 HICE group work. It really is the mechanics of it, because we approach these extraterrestrial beings, this extraterrestrial mindset, this universal consciousness, this Christ consciousness, however, whatever you're comfortable calling it, but it's a higher, finer vibration.
Yeah, it was the consciousness of knowing that you and I are part of the same thing. So I'm conscious that you are me and I am you.
Right.
And that's the other part of this, is when you get to that level where you see other and self and other, encountering non-human intelligence is encountering ET is not going to be a frightening experience. It's going to be a welcomed experience, especially if you're putting out the energies that it takes to get there. And and this is how we lead humanity into the next level, because at this point in time in spiritual development, you don't see sex, you don't see race, you don't see gender, you don't see difference. You see all part of the same thing.
Right.
And if you don't get that, then you're not going to be rewarded with contact. And if you do get that, you will be rewarded. You will have contact, and if you join a CE5 group, you will be able to initiate contact.
Yes, exactly. And that's the thing, is we're in this community. There is so much sharing and caring amongst us. We don't care how many people come to your CE5. The more the merrier, if that's what you're intending. But drawing a big crowd is not our intention either. What we're looking for is a genuine crowd. We're not really looking for UFO chasers or watchers, and
no UFO tourists, please.
Yeah, we don't need. But I'm not condemning them, because you never know what door people come through.
Right.
And if that was the thing that prompted their imagination to start this, then it's a blessing. There were people at the last. See, there wasn't a lot of visual stuff Saturday night. But apparently there was.
There were some, we had new members and there were craft. There were there were a lot of flash bulbs.
Yeah.
No denying that. And you also have to realize that the appearance of ET is going to be commensurate with the level of the experience and the ability of the group to absorb it. They won't overdo it if the members are young and just not ready for it.
Well, and and of course, everything is a vibration. You're a vibration, I'm a vibration, all those people are there in a vibration. And we do have a group meditation every event. And when that settles in, when that meditation settles in amongst the group, we were exchanging energy around the circle. And, you can call it, something, that's a neo-pagan when you're gathered in a circle around a fire.
It doesn't matter. The pagans, though, 10,000 years ago, they were bringing ET to the fire, to the table.
That's true.
I mean.
And who really knows what fire is?
Right. Well,
nobody really knows.
Well, either way, what we know how to do it. We might not know exactly what the mechanism is, but as human beings, we've been doing this for many, for thousands of years. And it wasn't until institutionalized religion came along that says, no, that's the devil. You can't do this. You must stop it.
Yeah.
Because you must give us money, and we control, the keys to the kingdom that you want to enter. And the reality is no, you're already in the kingdom you need to enter.
Yeah.
You don't need keys. You don't need intercessors. You don't need me or you or anybody else to do a CE5. Pick up Celia Hatch's book and learn it. Hit me up and I'll send you my protocol. It doesn't matter where you learn it. You can't screw it up. It's that simple. So,
right. Well, that just to clarify that for people who are maybe listening for the first time, if you're interested in CE5 or HICE, Celia Hatch has written a wonderful guide called A CE5 Handbook. It's available online. You can download it for free, print it out. If you like a static copy, you can send away for the book, whatever it is that however you want to absorb this information. And what you got there?
This is I picked these up. We were talking about the Tao of
Show the camera there.
Yeah, here we go. This is, of course, these are going to my granddaughter, but it
are those lithographs or something?
Yeah, I'm not sure. They're pictures.
Cells or something?
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, those are very nice.
Yeah, thank you.
That's a gathering of Winnie the Pooh and Christopher Robin and.
Well, I think it'd make a great book cover too. Christopher Robin holds his first CE5. I mean, I finished the first children's book.
Right.
And don't forget to give me you had mentioned somebody wanted to do the.
Yes, I have an artist, Frances, who has inboxed me. I sent her the
good.
the draft.
Great.
And she's meditating on it, and she's very inventive, very creative.
Great. This is where we go next.
Yeah. Well, the Tao of Pooh, and it's a wonderful read. It's such a simple book, the Tao, Tao of Pooh. You can pick it up anywhere. You can buy it for 88 cents on Amazon if you want to use paperback of it. The words are the same. But one of the things that I noticed, and we have a lot of similar friends that are very Taoist, and they spend a lot of time in the research and the dismantling and restructuring, okay? But there's also a group of people that just kind of get it.
Yeah.
And the Tao calls them the unfinished block.
Yes.
They already knew before they embarked upon all these things that are so profound and blow us away when we go, oh my God, what an incredible, simple, beautiful truth. And they're just sitting there shaking their head going, yeah, well, how else could it be?
Yeah, well, the symbolism of the block is that, for example, you'll say, oh my God, I need a tool.
Right.
Where am I going to get it from? All right?
Right.
Well, you might not get the tool, but you will be able to fashion the tool out of the block that is sent your way.
Yes.
So that's kind of the Taoist metaphor.
And that was interesting as I read about the unfinished block. Christine has a block of wood near her sink, and it's just a block of wood, and it reminds her that block of wood can be anything. There's beautiful sculpture inside that block of wood. There's half-ass artwork inside that block of wood. There's splinters inside that block of wood. It is as complete as you let it be, to where you don't need to do all these mental calisthenics all the time, although they're fun. And they do take you further and further into an understanding. But there are groups of people out there, and we have many that come to the CE5, that they're not sitting here talking about all the profundities and all the, uniquisms of our mindset. They already have it. It's already inside them. They don't. When you explain something to them, they just nod their head and go, yeah, well, how else could it be?
Well, it's always nice to see the different energies that everybody brings. You can see people that are suffering from anxiety disorder, and they haven't learned how to calm the mind or calm themselves.
Yes.
And in a group of really mellow people, they stand out like sore thumbs.
Yep.
It's like everything goes wrong. They're always trying to super control everything, and they don't get it. It's
Right.
reality is beyond your control. You can manage some things, but you're not in control of any of it.
Mm-hmm. So, right. Oh yeah, exactly. Well, and that in the Tao of Pooh is this is a book that was it A.A. Milne that wrote it. I think so. That has existed for, I don't know, it was written in the 20s, I think.
I don't know.
1920 something.
I just buy the plates. I read it to my kids forever back.
Sure. And who's the like Rabbit? The character of Rabbit is always confused, always flustered, always behind, always in a panic.
Right, and he is always chronically depressed. And Christopher Robin is a friggin' flagrant schizophrenic. He talks to his toys.
Yeah, exactly. Sure. But actually, Pooh is the perfect personification of the unfinished block.
Right.
He, even though he appears to sometimes know nothing, he already has it. And it was the more you read that as an adult, you're just like going, man, I was exposed to some extreme brilliance at a young age that I didn't have the capacity to understand or accept. But it entered, and it sat there. And now, maybe, when you shine a different light, all these realisms will, come to life for you and us and them.
Yeah. It's like Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
Without Bugs Bunny, where would your sense of humor be today?
Oh, I know.
And your perception of reality.
Right.
He
don't know me very well, do he?
That's right. I thought I was on my way to Pismo Beach.
And I can't tell you how many times in my life I've said, I should have taken a left at Albuquerque.
Right, It's funny. We were gifted that as children, and now you got and then they denigrated to Muppets and then Teletubbies. Although I did like the Muppets, they had their day. But now we're down to Teletubbies. So
I think Teletubbies are even. I tell you, the ones that are scary is the anime stuff coming out of the Far East, and it's satanic and Luciferian, and they are after, they're proselytizing now.
Yeah, well, they're trying to hook the kids that are hooked on games too.
Yeah.
I see somebody trying to advertise a game to me. It's like, I don't have enough time for life as it is.
Yeah.
Game what?
Right. Exactly.
Like, holy cow,
Well, yeah, I mean, and I know we sound like a couple old farts.
Well, we are, but that's okay.
We are, but that's okay.
Go with the flow.
I accept it and embrace it.
There you go.
But like, Grand Theft Auto, which has been out for a long time, and there's so many versions of it now, I don't even know. I don't keep track of it. But there's like, you get extra points if you like rape your enemy's girlfriend. And they wonder where people get these bizarre ideas. Well, they're certainly presented easily. And that kind of viciousness, that's the exact opposite of me being you and you being me. Okay? Right. You don't want that to happen to you. You don't want your girlfriend to be raped. You don't want you don't want that. But this propagates that type of behavior in a nearly acceptable premise. And then they blow it off and go, oh, it's just a game. It's just a thing. It's just a screen. Don't take it so seriously. What are you, out of your mind? But I'm telling you, you have to watch what you watch, and you have to watch what you listen to, because all those subliminal messages, they land on your little hard drive in here, and that's part of the reason that we're having the trouble that we're having today, because people only half listen to things, and they blow stuff off like it's no big deal, but consequently, it's a big deal.
Well, I don't know if you're familiar with Donald Hoffman, but he's a brilliant mathematician.
Yeah,
and he uses.
You sent me some things.
And he uses Grand Theft Auto as part of his teaching to illustrate his theory of reality. And Grand Theft Auto. Let's start with Donald Hoffman. Donald Hoffman says, "Look, those who participate in life are essentially playing the game, and the ones that win the game or the best at the game are the ones that make enough money and capital to have enough money to procreate and get their DNA into the next level." Okay? He said there's no benefit in life from going past the game itself and then trying to understand the pixels, what makes the pixels, the subpixels, and then what's behind the screen, and then the math behind what created the screen. You don't need to know that, because if you spend your time trying to figure that out, then you don't win the game. Okay?
Right.
Now, drop it back a notch. All right? People that are playing Grand Theft Auto are not winning the game. They're not playing the game. They're playing Grand Theft Auto, which means they're not going to be the ones that are going to win at the game of life and survive and procreate and stuff.
Sure.
It's a wide premise. But I'm willing to run with that one.
Sure.
Okay.
It's the dulling of the masses.
If you're a gamer, man, you ain't earning. I mean, you either got born with some wealth or you're living in a basement.
Right.
Okay.
Sure.
Or a room with a big TV set, and that's your life. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But let's take it one more step. When Hoffman addresses procreation and survival of DNA as the summum bonum, the greatest good that mankind has, but it's not. What you have to look at is when you go past the game and then you start understanding what's behind the game.
Yes.
It doesn't help your human evolution as your DNA, but this isn't about your DNA. It's about something greater than your DNA.
Yes.
It's your spirit, it's your soul, okay? And the last I heard, spirit and soul are not written into DNA in any kind of science text. So what we're looking at is for people that go behind the game, behind the playing of the game of life, to understand what it's all about. Okay, why am I here? The larger questions. Are there ET? Who are they? Where do they come from? How do I make contact? That's the next level. And then when you accept for the fact that we are spirits, born into this meat bag to achieve something here on the planet, whatever that may be, it's all about the spiritual realm, not about the physical realm. And we know that as a fact now, that the materiality has taken a back seat to consciousness itself. So if the goal of life is to illuminate your consciousness and take it to the next level, you shouldn't be playing at the game so much. And for God's sake, don't play Grand Theft Auto.
Right,
okay?
exactly. Yeah, it is the dulling of the masses. It is, well, neither you or I really watch TV. Definitely broadcast television. Although I did enjoy that Resident Alien series that was on Sci-Fi. It was fun. Okay. It was fun. It was kind of tongue-in-cheek. There's an alien that comes to Earth to destroy all of us.
Oh, and he ends up liking us.
And then of course. It still is a Hallmark movie.
Right. So when does he meet Sheldon?
And a dog runs up at the end. But what happens to people as their life endures? I know some people that are very depressed. I know people that are just kind of suffering through the next day. They're in a job they've been in for a long time. They're not happy about any particular thing. They dwell upon the mishaps of their life, and they really do set markers where my life came undone here, my life came undone here, my life came undone here, and here I am, the shambles of these events. Okay? I'm not saying you don't get fatigued. I'm not saying you don't get handicapped. I'm not saying you don't get beat up through life. You do. Okay? But the spirit that dwells inside of me, Mike, and everybody here listening, your specific spirit, you were given this incredible vibration, this incredible frequency. When you have those ideas that you want more out of life and more out of your existence, it's all readily available. But consequently, you kind of do have to shed some of the things that you've already presumed. And presumption is very, very dangerous, as is assumption. The old thing about what they say about assume. Thinking that your life is over, it's not going to be any happier, that this is as good as it gets. In Pooh's Forest is also Eeyore. Okay? I got some Eeyores in my life. I understand them. And hey, I have an occasional Eeyore day myself.
Yeah.
Okay? But I snap out of it because I realize that that's really no way to exist. The whole world is not, oh, bother. You have been given, and it's been really a blessing over the last year during the CCP virus, that I've been able to go to Alaska, Idaho, Colorado several times, Wyoming, and really look at look at the earth in its incredible ways. And then I come back here to this tropical paradise where you're looking out over the blue ocean and the incredible skies and the wind and the rain and it's all for you. It's all, this time here on this planet is an extreme blessing if you let it be. Now, I'll also tell you, everybody that I know that is in the Eeyore mode, they all watch television. They all watch they start their day with the daily news, okay? And one of the reasons Mike and I do this show, IMHO, in my humble opinion, .love, humility is a rare thing these days. We often admit that we may be wrong. We always admit that these are our opinions, but our opinions are moving us into a peaceful path. We want to spread the news and the information of a peaceful existence, that it's available to you. It's nothing that you have to be afraid of. It's nothing that you need to fear the approach. It will greet you at whatever level you want to be greeted at. So surrendering your preconceived notions, surrendering a lot of assumptions, and I can create a worst case scenario as quick as anybody. Somebody tells me I'm entering into a situation, I can tell you exactly what can go wrong with that thing. That's kind of the business I've been in. I've been a stand-up comic for many years, but I've also been a buyer and reseller of automobiles, cars, trucks, vans, equipment. I am trained to look for fault, because fault is the definition of whether I'm going to have a profitable sale, whether this business agreement is going to have good results, because I have the ability to find the fault in the transaction. But and there's fault in everything. Each one of us are flawed. Each one of us has problems. But you can't just write it off because of that, because inside everything is also good. There's wonderful things. It's like, like for instance, I'm going up tomorrow morning to look at a 4-wheel drive Chevy Suburban, okay? And I'm probably going to buy it. Now, the guy wants a lot of money for it, but he tells me that it's a good mechanical piece, and I'm going to buy it. I'll pay more than I'm supposed to, and I will make a more meager profit, but still a profit. Now, every once in a while, and everything doesn't have to be a big score. I'm finding the good in this opportunity. I'm not just writing it off saying I can't make X amount of dollars on that, so I'm not going to bother. Some people, that's the way they run their business. But what I'm saying is you don't even know the energy that particular transaction may contain. The person you buy it from could be a complete blessing. The person you sell it to could be a complete blessing. The guy that sells you 2 new tires for it can be a complete blessing. So in letting the Tao rule your life and walk within it and let it be your default setting, everything's going to work out, even if it seems disastrous via the news story. Chances are it's not. And I say this often, 90% of the stuff you worry about never happens. Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah. The stuff that you're worrying and fretting about, that hardly ever comes to be.
Yeah, when it does happen, it's only 10% as bad as you thought it was.
Yeah, that's it. And so the reason Mike and I do this show is to, we love to hear ourselves talk. But we love to share.
I'm the silent one, by the way.
Well, Oliver, the easier explanation of it is I was called many years ago to communicate. And I've been given the ability to make a room full of people laugh. I've been given the ability to comfort people when they're sad. And I also have been given the ability to be a conduit of healing, spiritual, physical, all that stuff. It's all within me. And it's all within you too. You just have to open up those channels and open up that path for it all to happen for you. So as this show evolves, it's such a blessing to be able to do this, and it's such a blessing to have each one of you here every week. I'll name some names, and I know I'm going to forget a bunch. And please, don't be offended if I didn't say your name. But Kat, Carol, and Nanette, and Mark Cunningham, and our friends. Francis has been watching, and you don't even, and that's just an extraordinarily short list. We don't even know where this show winds up. I saw one of our shows on BitChute that had over 1,000 views.
Really?
Yeah. So who knows who's sharing it?
Cool.
And feel free, if we made a point, feel free to download this. Feel free to share it. Feel free to edit it. Don't change what we say, but you can excerpt it. You can, cut out a piece or whatever you want. As long as you keep the original content, we're okay with that.
We're not going to sue you, though. But
we're not. And this show isn't monetized. We don't, we don't care if you buy our T-shirts or coffee mugs, or
we have T-shirts and coffee mugs.
We can get them.
You know what it is? We make them white T-shirts, and then it's all about emptiness.
The simplicity of everything.
$20 for
have like one little thing on
it's like emptiness.
One little piece on the sleeve or something.
Yeah, logo. Made by us.
And that's the other thing too. And anybody who's known me for any amount of time, I'll tell you, the creator of the universe doesn't need a logo. He doesn't need an operation system. He doesn't need financiers. He's looking to bless. It's looking to bless you on many, many levels. And I'm very grateful for all the people that have been in our path. Our CE5 group, of course, and my comedy friends and my comedy audiences, and this show, that show, my actor friends, my Ward Smith and I are going to do. I had an idea for a short film, which we're going to do in the next few weeks. I'm in the middle of writing it.
Cool.
And it's for guys. So we count it all joy, and that's scripture, and we accept things as they come. There's no sense in being worried. There's no sense in being in a panic, but there's also no sense in not knowing. There's so much information out there, and you do have to sift through it, but you do have to pay the right attention to it. Don't get caught in the main sheeple gate, because that's not the path you want to take. I don't think. Maybe it is. Maybe you just want to walk into the abattoir till it's over. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, you have spent another hour with Lou Angelwolf and Mike Murburg. The show is imho.love, in my humble opinion.love. That's the main website. It's available on YouTube, Facebook Live. We leave it up here for a while. It's on Podbean. Our wonderful producer, Kathy McGuire, downloads it and spreads it all over the universe. BitChute, 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 is a wonderful source. If you want to personally get a hold of Mike, he will answer your email at darbyranchce5@gmail.com. That's DARBYRANCHCE5, the number 5, @gmail.com. Like, subscribe, share, however you want to do, whatever it is you want to do. We try to be here every Wednesday night for you. Friday night we'll be at the Brian Regan Show. And look for two guys in two chairs that are taking up the whole chairs. And so, folks, love a lot, laugh a lot. Remember, laughter, meditation, and soul preparation. That's kind of the...
That's why you're here. Enjoy the ride.
Enjoy your life.
Get a laugh.
Yeah, you can have some fun.
Yeah, why not?
And we say every week, use your head, trust your gut, and your heart will take you home. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Peace, y'all.
Say goodnight, Mike.
Good night, Mike.
All right.
I'm easily controlled. What can I tell you?
Well, you trust. You trust.
I do.
And who we got in there? Oh, there's John Sylvester. Hi, John. Great energy, he says. All right. And thank you so much, everybody. And we love you a bunch, and see you soon.